You're right.
Well, that's a good practice.
I'm one to just walk and my husband yells at me all the time.
Isn't that how Leotopolo died?
I was gonna say, this is.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
I had no idea.
you diagnosed the street to go to Tony's the time,
Oh my goodness.
right? At least that's what it's called.
There's no-
Okay,
Yeah.
maybe. Good morning, David.
Welcome.
Just watch this.
Oh, you know what, folks? I'm sorry. You know, here with Mary's absence. Would you please pass out the agenda, Jennifer, get those going around, and I'll send my report the other way.
All right, well, I have my copy.
Sorry about that. Those will go around, we'll get going. So, yeah, we'll do a tour, David, I know you just walked in. We'll do a tour of the space, at some point during the meeting. We'll do an introduction, and at the close of the meeting, we'll do a quick tour of the space and talk a little bit more in depth about, the program here. But I thought, you know, as you can see, it's a nice site, so I thought we'd, come visit it and see Anna's progress here and learn more about Pitch Hamburg. So, with that, we'll open the July 20th meeting. I'll start with roll call. Kim Hall.
Here.
Bob Hutchison. Here. Janet is excused. Mayor Moses.
Here.
Palmer is excused. Jamal Perkins.
Here.
Welcome. Davis Pokulski.
Here.
Bob Reynolds.
Here.
Wentz Valentin.
Here.
All right. And we have Jennifer here. Bear with me. I'm taking a little bit extra notes, even though we're recording. Next is motion to open the July 20th Hamburg, New York IDA Board of Directors meeting at 7:34 a.m.
So move.
Second. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. First item on the agenda are our minutes from the June 15th, 2022 meeting. Does anybody have any questions or comments? Yes, Wentz.
Motion to accept when necessary corrections.
Thank you, Wentz. Who was that?
So move.
Thanks, Bob. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Carried. Okay, next is our financial report.
Morning, everybody. We had some great income this last 2 months because we got our interest reports on the accounts that we had spread out for May and June. So we was deposited on $629.22, $359.44. So that's why it's a little high in CD earnings. So we had some other interest on our other accounts of 93. So we ended up with interest on our accounts of $452, which is a significant improvement over a year or so ago. So we're making progress there. Payroll and benefits was $10,624.62. And we've got payroll and our liabilities $11,482.34. I just want to point out that we had a payroll expenses insurance of $1,260 and sponsorship. We did $22,040 in sponsorship, so the total expenses of $15,192.78 for the month. So we go over the second page, how I do it with everything added up. And taking out our liabilities and stuff. We ended up with a total liability and equity in our accounts of $990,353 $990,353.28. I just want to point out this year that we're running, our expenses are running kind of in the negative so far. We've got some things coming in pipeline, but we're down overall for the year, 74, almost 75,000 from that. Just so everybody sees that. Any questions?
Will we see a CD mature? Will we go on that?
That one comes, I think it matures next year. I think.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
Sorry, I'm off by a whole year.
Oh, yeah.
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 I think that was your idea that we bought it.
Yeah.
Right.
Or it was,
Oh, is that next year?
Well,
let the years go slowly. Yeah, so that CD is it's working out well for us, and I'm sure the CDs are gonna look more. The way it's going people up, so I'll take a look at that again.
And then just a comment that sponsorship was for Hamburg College, so I just made a note here to have Mary email you a reminder of the date and see if you'd like to RSVP to attend that event. That's it. Any other questions?
Motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Cam.
Second.
Thank you, Bob. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, my update. Yeah, on the receivables, Key Energy, the project expires, where they would need an extension in September. So we're anticipating that closing. You haven't received any documents back from,
No,
Okay.
I had made the revisions that she had requested and followed up with her again last week, and she said it's in progress.
yeah. So, so I'll make a note to follow up with the project operator, because I know a lot of the deliverables were I think there was a survey report, the legal description,
Title
insurance.
insurance.
So,
Sean, that's the Blaisdell project?
that's the Blaisdell project, the battery storage project.
Yeah.
So, that represents, I think due to the IDA is about $137,000 with that project. That's a substantial portion of the receivables. Johnson's Brew House, the ECIDA, the loan fund did not meet in June. They're meeting July 27th. So ideally that project will move forward, and then KH and Stout Precision Machine. And then last is 290 Lake Street, which the municipal approval that expires in September. So they may have to go back to the village or file for permit by September on that project as well.
Do you know if there's any movement in it? They were looking.
Yes and no. Yeah, there was, there may be some new principles involved with the project. So,
Maybe extension start with.
yeah.
If they don't have that started, finished up by September 30th, they start all over,
Yes.
all of approval.
They don't have
Yeah.
what finished.
If they don't get their building started,
So you just have to break ground basically.
basically, and get everything up to speed. They've been given the approval to go ahead and do it. But if they don't have shovel in the ground, that's a problem.
They'll have to reapply, or I don't know if there's an extension process, so they have to
No
reapply.
extension.
They can't because the village has got all this new building.
New regulations.
Oh, that's right, yeah, with this
It's only
one.
around during the time.
So,
Can we go back to Johnson?
yes,
Can you remind me, what do they do with your account?
so they're essentially applying for a loan for some,
So
some
they
debt
have that through a
financing.
loan fund.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
so they're not getting benefits. from
No.
both organizations.
The only benefits that they're getting are ones that we cannot provide. So we can fund, we have a loan fund through the Hamburg Development Corporation. It's essentially a sister company with a separate board. And, I'm just kind of updating Jamal, we can provide loans from, I think 10,000 is the minimum to $100,000 to help companies. So we funded expanding companies for manufacturing equipment, for real property. And, but our cap is $100,000. So with this project, they needed excess of that. So we referred them over to the county, and the county seemed favorable. They seemed positive on the project, but still has to go through a board approval process, which is next week.
You do a hole in the ground over there.
That's
Yeah, there's been progress, I guess you could say.
Couple of chairs, so you can see the lake. Good overview.
So, project activity has picked up this month, which is exciting. We have I've talked to a developer who has a potential lessee for 100,000 square foot, like warehouse manufacturing building. So I've been looking at some schematic design for that. I've been working with a local manufacturer, and Jennifer's been helpful with that, who's talking about purchasing a new building, and an appropriate arrangement, I think, for their investment will be more of a sales tax exemption project. So that's nice. in terms of the manufacturing and employment side. And then on the multifamily side, I do have an draft application in for a local developer. I'm working through the valuation and the implant study on that. We will probably look to communicate with the board and like to hold a public hearing in August or September on that project. And then there are still some other eligible multifamily projects, so, the one with South Park and Souls that are moving through plan. The CARES program continues to move forward. I have an application in, meeting with someone next week on an application. So hopefully by the end of August, we can get that program, the funds exhausted. Mary put an advertisement in the Hamburg Sun, which brought about a few more, at least calls of interest for the program on the grant financing. We will expect to, in probably early August, do a press release with the town through the HDC, as we will be presenting some payments to businesses that are sponsored. So there are people in the program, and to the point where they've made their investment, and they'll get the reimbursement with the program through the town. The town was a huge partner in that. So we're thankful with that. And in terms of some advocacy and legislation, Fast New York was a program that Janet had mentioned, and I also received an email. Fast New York is a state program. Essentially, it's similar to like the Shovel Ready, where the state will provide grant investment to make industrial manufacturing production sites ready. So we have a couple of good sites that I've submitted in the town of Hamburg through this program. And essentially what they will do is you have a short form application, and if they like the sites, I think they'll approve you to do a long form application. And there are some sites like 10 acres or more within that Gardenville Dunkirk electric line with National Grid, which is huge because we can get probably up to 10, 15 megawatts of power at that site. There's a lot of good water service along Route 5. I picked the sites for semiconductor production. I know the state's been putting a lot of effort and investment in that. So certainly with the workforce and with the infrastructure at that site, that those sites might be good to cite that type of investment in the town of Hamburg. But that requires a lot of funding for electrical substations, which they're probably in the $2 to $5 million range for something that can step down power at that level. And then certainly maybe added water, pumping services, DEC permits, because those types of production operations use a lot of wastewater. We use a lot of water, and then they generate a lot of wastewater as well. So
Are these along Route 5, the sites?
yeah, they're along Route 5. So
the properties then.
they're outside owners. One is owned by a company called IFC. It's on Lake and Route 5. And then there's another one that is on the corner, essentially across from the Gateway building, on Route 5 as well, across from.
Obviously, they're okay with you.
Yes, I've met with the owners, and they were, they said, yeah, take a shot for it. And let's see where it goes. So they're on board as well. So we'll see where that goes. The other item of note is Business First, rank their economic development agencies. We've moved up to 8 from 13 as a ranking based on our performance last year, which is good. Looking ahead, our next board meeting is August 17th. We'll be back at Blaisdell Village Hall and pitch
We need to
Hamburg.
go back to that. That's pretty good.
What?
We jumped up 5 spots there.
Yeah,
That's
that's
not
not
big,
bad.
man. That's
Yeah,
good.
that's good.
You
Not
skipped
bad.
over that way too fast.
All right. So,
So out of how many, Sean?
oh gosh, there was, I don't think I have the photo on my phone. There's probably 25 different agencies. So yeah, we're doing well. Cattaraugus County had the biggest. They had the cheese plant. That's like a $500 million project. That's huge. But it's down in different.
Niagara County too, then, with the Amazon.
Well, if approved.
Yeah, approved this.
No, That was planning.
Yeah.
So that's not IDA.
You get you planning.
It's a big one for the idea.
Yeah, I'll be happy to comment. I
What do you want,
work-
Hamburg? Oh, yeah, nuts.
The public hearing, or the, kind of the pre-public hearing was rather quiet on that, so. So thanks, Cam. Pitch Hamburg, we're doing a ribbon cutting on, what is it, September? We
No.
changed the date.
August 31st.
August 31st.
August.
That's different than the grand opening.
Yes. Well, grand opening ribbon cutting, and we'll,
So it's.
you'll get
August
invites, the invite,
August 31st.
yeah. Sorry about that.
What time is that gonna be?
4 p.m.
4 o'clock.
That's good.
And then-
Those retirees.
September 28th, we have a joint event with the Hamburg IDA and the Southtown Chamber. This will be at the Lodge at Woodlawn. And this will be a commercial real estate developer panel. So right now I'm working on inviting, we'll have a short panel presentation, about 15 minutes. This will be more of a commercial real estate networking event, but just a couple developers to talk about current projects in the town of Hamburg. I certainly would like to invite Walden Development to highlight the available space that they're working on, searching for occupants. So there's available acreage, like adjacent to the Amazon plant. So there's a 10-acre parcel there and a 3-acre parcel there. That's industrial zoned. So they own that, but we're certainly partnered with them to develop that site and get some gainful employment there.
I will not be there, Paul.
Oh, yeah, you had mentioned, thank you.
I got a goddess responsibility.
You said you would be out of town.
Yeah.
The other item was we'd invite some local manufacturers because yeah, I have, one of the coolest parts of my job is to get around Hamburg and see what products are made here. So I'd like to invite, 2 or 3 to essentially have a table to show what products are manufactured in Hamburg, because there's some really cool, you may know more than others, but there's some cool products that we'd like to share with the community. Committees, events, you have the update there. The ECC Advisory Board, that committee may likely be going away just due to, in part by the layoffs. The administrator of that program was laid off, so we'll see where that goes. Trying to pay attention to any developments in particular for the South Campus. Invest Buffalo had their Be in Buffalo kickoff. You'll see some information in the Buffalo News on that. But it's essentially, they have a very helpful relocation guide that helps people that, companies that you may be involved with where you have applicants might be relocating to the Western New York region from out of town. It's a helpful resource to just kind of know what's out and about, where to live, what the community's like, even for recruitment purposes. So if you need copies, just let me know. I can get them from Invest Buffalo, and I have a few in my office. The loan fund, we have the grant, which essentially competes with our loan fund at this time, and it's more lucrative if it's eligible. So we need some loan activity, and we meet with a lot of bankers this past month on that. And the last item is there's a cool distributor in Hamburg. It's called John B. They're out of Toronto, and they have beads. It's a place for beading, and they essentially have a distribution facility that operates out of Lake Avenue and a retail front, which is their outlet, and they distribute beads to like Joanne Fabrics, to different companies of that sort, Hobby Lobby around the country, out of I think that's town of Hamburg. It's not Blaisdell, but out of that site. So they did not engage with the IDA. I reached out to them, and they followed up probably about 6 months after they've occupied this space. But maybe for some future projects there, they would take advantage. They're looking to have up to 50 employees doing the distribution out of that facility. So they're and they will, if you do go to these companies' websites like Joanne Fabrics, for instance, they actually will ship direct out of that facility. It doesn't go to another.
They got a storefront there?
Yeah, they have a storefront there.
What are they saying?
They're probably retail jobs, so they didn't disclose, they don't have a project, so I don't know their pay, but I'm thinking it's compatible with retail. So, the production side maybe, there's some like production in there,
You said 50 people packing stuff up, right?
yeah,
That's more production.
so, yeah, and then they make like some of the, I forgot what they call it, it's like a synthetic, like ligament, like sinew, like the material that they will bead with, because a lot of they do sell a lot of these like Native American groups, and they use more traditional beads and like the string. I mean, this guy knows a lot about beads. But there is some production side to it as well, which is interesting. And again, it's very compatible with our proximity to the Canadian border. It's definitely a strategic advantage that we have here. You know, this company's in Toronto. In an hour and a half, depending upon traffic, you know, they can be down here and maybe they recreate even south of the city in ski country, which a lot of them do. Okay, that's my report. Any questions or comments?
The build truck terminal, what is that?
That is a site on Jeffrey Boulevard. They have not applied, so I've been working with a real estate broker who's been representing an undisclosed user. So they have not, you know, I don't know if that would be compatible for benefits, and you know, it always could, if it's more of a truck terminal, the investment may not be compatible with IDA. You know, if it's just, you know, some of these buildings are very small, it's like freight in, cross dock type of operation, so not sure. But that was activity, there's a vacant 10-acre parcel on Jeffrey near the place over at Dunn Club. And I know they were looking at. Okay, next item on the agenda is to welcome Jamel. It's been a few months since we had a ninth board member, so Jamel and I will be meeting. Jennifer has shared with us her training program, so I'll go over a lot of the state law that governs IDAs with you later in early August. But you know, you're welcome to introduce yourself. Maybe we'll kind of do a quick roundtable here, just so you can become a little bit more familiar with people who you may not have met yet.
Okay.
Sound good? I'll put you on the spot.
So no, it sounds fine. Jamel Perkins, I've been a Hamburg resident since I think 2004, I want to say. Yeah, we built down East Eden Road there. I'm currently a global executive for a company called Spexa. Super involved in the community. Got a charter school in the city of Buffalo. I'm on a couple other boards, Feedmore. I'm the past chair of JUL College. I'm also on the Canisius College board of trustees, and I'm very involved with Port Huron North. I'm a judge there. I'm also a business mentor there as well. I've done some startup stuff as well. Pretty much everything, you name it. I do some investments as well, venture capital investments as well. So I like to stay a little busy, to say the least. But I've got 2 kids here in Hamburg and a wife. It's been 20 years today. She reminded me of that today.
Happy anniversary.
Thanks. And yeah, it's about it. I grew up in West Seneca, New York, so not too far from here. And I've always been kind of a South Towns gentleman.
So what do you do in your spare time?
Oh, I like to ski and snowboard. Do a little of that. So yeah.
We can get a ski trip going.
Yeah.
Get a couple of skiers on the board here.
What do you do the other 8 months out of the year?
I don't know.
Volunteer?
Volunteers, more and more volunteering. Yeah. So yeah.
Excellent.
I love being in the community. You know, community kind of, you know, raises the entire ecosystem, and you know, it makes our kids better, makes, you know, everybody else happy. And I love to see what's going on here in Hamburg. It's been awesome, you know, since we moved in. So
Yeah, it's a great town. I'm Bob Hutchison. I've been a board member about maybe 3 years. About this time, and retired. I was the former tax assessor of the town, and about 7 years ago, I do some consulting work in property tax, and love to ski and sail in my spare time. So
awesome.
It wouldn't get you involved.
Yeah.
Mine's Valentine, born on the east side of Buffalo, grew up in South Buffalo, moved to Hamburg probably about the same time, 2004. Worked for General Motors, I'm the president of UAW Local 774, Town One Engine Plant. Member of the Knights of Columbus down the street, for about 20 years now. Been on for what, 6, 7, 8 years? I'm not sure, 6 years. 6 years. Welcome.
My dad held that same role many, many years ago. He was the president of Local 774.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice. What was his name?
Roosevelt Perkins.
Nice.
It's gotta be a plaque somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. You can look through your office.
Do you want me to go now or wait?
I don't, whatever you feel like.
I'll wait.
You wanna wait? Do the big spiel.
Hey, I'm Tom Moses. I'm the past mayor of the village of Hamburg for 16 years. I'm very proud of it. And also I was with the recreation department for 37 years prior to that. And so I've been very active in the community and still staying active with the community. Been on this board for, God only knows, I know it's been a long time.
Yeah, he's been around, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Since about
12 to 14 years, and it's been a great experience for me, along working with our new director, Sean, and our previous director. And it's all worked out well. We've got a great group of people to work with now. And it's really non-political, which I'm very happy to see that happen, because before it was going in the wrong direction. And you can't really play games with this board, because it means a lot to the community. And people don't realize the things that we do in a true sense, and it's all heart to heart, things that we do look at. So it's a real proven thing, and I welcome you aboard and hope that you stay in this community for a long time to come.
Plan on it.
Okay, good.
I'm Bob Reynolds. I'm lifelong Blaisdell boy, Hamburg boy since 54. Been retired from Ford for 15 years. I retired as a UAW vice president out of my local. I run a retiree union right now. I was on the Hamburg School Board, Erie County Legislature for 4 years. The idea I've been on 5 years, and Sean took over about 4 years ago now. Believe it or not, it's been that long. So I've been involved in the community politically a lot, and run a few offices, run a few races. Most people don't know, in here recently, I just took over a publicly traded small cap company in the mining business, and trying to expand and stuff like that. So I'm like you, I don't have a lot of spare time. But, enjoy everything like that. Welcome aboard, you'll enjoy it.
Curious about that.
Yeah, so am I.
It's pretty interesting. I just took over in July. So you have no idea.
So Jamel and I already know each other, but Cam Hall, so along with Davis, I'm a representative from the school board. So the way, we basically appoint someone to this committee as a school board, as did Frontier. And, ultimately the town board approves whether we're okay or not, and there was some contention about that. Frontier at one point. But I've been on the board for, I think, 8 years. Helped bring Sean on, which, if I ended tomorrow, that would be my stamp of contribution to this board, but great to have you.
So, and we'll be, and by the way, we'll tell you now, it's like being a Supreme Court justice, it's a life.
Thanks for the like.
Unless you're looking for it.
So, but, as you know, this board, as Cam mentioned, represents a variety of different subject matters and professional expertise. So it's a great amalgamation of different talents and convictions, and it really, we work as a group to drive the community forward. Like so many other agencies in Hamburg and volunteer groups. So it's just great to represent this agency. My background, I graduated with MBA from Canisius, so I'm a Canisius grad as well. And then I spent a number of years in commercial real estate. So my experience over about probably close to 20 years transitioned nicely, and my connections with commercial financing people from different banks, the brokerage industry, the real estate development industry have really helped to, and understanding real estate development and investment have really helped to, you know, be successful in this role. And it's 4 years now, and yeah, we've really moved the agency forward, and, you know, just continuing with expansions and partner companies as well, like the Hamburg. So it's exciting. And Jennifer?
I'm Jennifer Strong, the IDA attorney. I represent several IDAs, and my firm has been the IDA attorney since I joined the firm 23 years ago. And I'm happy to help you in any way I can.
Thank you.
And I'm Davis Pekulski. As Cam said, I'm on the Frontier School Board. I went to Frontier K through 12 and ran for the school board shortly after that. And, I'm a UB alum, and I just got recently admitted as an attorney here in New York, and I've been doing basically document review work remotely is how I've been getting started.
Awesome.
Nice, welcome.
Thank you.
What's interesting about half the board is called original Hamburgian, and the other half of us are transplants.
All right, so next I want to get into a little bit of pitch Hamburg, and then we'll jump back into a little bit more IDA business. But this board, you know, knows about this kind of the struggle. You know, it's been a lot of work getting the not-for-profit form, which is pitch Hamburg, and really just getting to where we are today. I've probably been talking about this, Anna, you know, since I really became involved with the Village Economic Development Committee, and back with Paul Becker, you know, it was kind of something that he mentioned, and it really resonated with me. And my motivation, you know, in a somewhat of a selfish regard, is that, you know, you are here as a board, and you know the struggle to get investment in New York State and to get new business in New York State. So I see startup companies, and you can evidence startup companies like your work with 43 North as a mechanism to generate new business, new employment in our region. You know, that if you can bring in companies and provide them with supports and some carrot to, you know, encourage them to stay, and then they become imbued with the community character that's been developed by other leaders in the area, so that they fall in love with the place. Ideally, we catalyze their business, they continue to grow, and then they choose Hamburg to land here and to make their investment. So these startup companies, you know, there's no doubt about it that it's a long shot, you know, but you know, in the Derby this year, the 50-to-1 horse won, and you know, with 43 North, they've had some long shots come through that have provided hundreds of jobs in our, not particularly in Hamburg, but the Western New York region, and a lot of investment. The companies have gone public. So we're similar to that. And, you know, Anna, well, you can talk to that, you know, just in terms of specifically what Pitch Hamburg is doing. We're thrilled now to bring on a director and some kind of founding funds from the town of Hamburg. So we're off to the races with Anna, and we're just so thrilled to have her.
Thanks. Just to give you a little background about me, so my education is in communications and public health. So prior to coming to Pitch, I was at Roswell Park for almost 14 years in community outreach, specific to tobacco cessation. So this is a nice change. I also am wrapping up my time with the Village of Hamburg as the community liaison. So I took over Paul Becker's role of special projects coordinator, and then it kind of morphed into more of like a community relations type of thing. So this is my last month with the village. I'm big in volunteering. I started with the community playground. That was my first kind of intro into community work here. I live in the village. I lived here for 16 years now. I live on Pleasant with my 2 sons. And they go to middle school, which is a terrible age, and they go to Union Pleasant as well. So from the community playground project, I got involved with Hamburg holidays. So if you've gone to the Thanksgiving parade, the holiday parade, I've coordinated that for the past 5 years. And then some other projects through Hamburg holidays. Through the village, I've been facilitating the EDC meetings for the past couple of years. And then kind of morphed into Pitch. So welcome to Pitch Hamburg. It's nice to welcome other people in here. I've been by myself in the office for about 2 months, so it's kind of nice to have people around now. Although it turns out I talk to myself a lot, so I have to dial that back. But I'm really excited to be here and be part of this. In 2017, I started my own business, so full-time job wasn't enough. So I started a side gig, Village Juice Works. So I just made fresh juices and brought them to the farmer's market. So had like a little pop-up tent, and then worked with some local places. I also teach yoga at Village Yoga and Wellness. So brought my juices there to sell. So lots of activity. And through Village Juice Works, so when I created that company from nothing, I had no idea where to go or what to do. And it was my sister who was like, I think you should take like a score class or something. And there was nothing around here. I had to go to Niagara County, and I had to take like 2 days off of work to attend these classes to kind of learn. So for me, it's important. A lot of people, when they're starting a side business, when they're starting their own business, it starts as a side hustle, right? And then it kind of morphs into something else. So to be able to help people and guide them in that way means a lot to me. I'm excited about that. And to be right in the community, right on Main Street, is huge. So the commute is great. I miss that. So this space really incorporating all of the local businesses. Everything was pretty much a local business, including the carpets, including the paint, like just really trying to tap into Hamburg. I also worked with Mid-City Furniture, and they supplied a lot of free furniture, which was great. Kurt Amico owns that, and he was just so nice and donating a lot of stuff. It's important for me to keep things local. So I'm working with Gretchen Widener, who is a local artist, and she created Chalk Walk and Art Walk in the village. So a few weeks ago, she had Art Walk, and she had this idea. She had this idea to have the community come together and participate in creating a piece for Pitch Hamburg, which is what is right there. So kids, adults, everybody kind of came up, and everybody has signed their name on the back. So we'll have a plaque next to it with everybody's name. So this is like truly a community piece. And then Gretchen, with her talent, has kind of tied it together, and it's not done yet, but it will go up on the wall as a display, which is awesome. And then using local artists as well to put up their artwork in the space too, which is why there's nothing out yet.
So lots of people make that.
Yeah,
That's so good.
she
They
is.
could be a mess.
Well, when she brought it in, it wasn't us.
Oh,
But she's done an amazing job of kind of pulling it together. So we're really, really excited about that, because really for me, especially, like, community is everything. And to be right here in the heart of the Central Business District, to really build those bridges between the existing businesses and then welcoming newer businesses. So our main focus is not so much the high scaling tech startups, but the mom and pop shops that make the communities. So to be able to help them come in, use the space if they need to, set them up with mentors. So similar to a 43 North, where you're setting people up with resources and helping them to develop their own businesses here. And then we're in the process of planning a competition to then be able to offer some kind of monetary prize for people to put towards their business.
Just a quick question. So
Sure.
if we run into somebody that needs say business assistance, we can direct them to you for a little, like, one-on-one or mentoring.
Yep.
Especially small businesses.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm kind of the connector person.
Yeah.
So I meet with them, I talk to them. I had 2 people come in yesterday. And I've got 2 people coming tomorrow too, so we're already starting to pick up momentum, which is great. But just talking about their business idea, and then I kind of tie the pieces together. To give
Well,
them
could
the
be a
resources.
brand new idea of business too then.
Mhm. Yeah,
It's really good. You don't think about that part of the mission of it. Like you think about kind of the business plan, kind of mission and the idea that's already formulated, but helping people just decide whether they should pursue something or
Yeah.
what kind of skills they should. So that's a cool part of your mission.
Yeah.
Good.
I would like to commend, I'd like to commend Sean and the Economic Development Committee for following through with this because it was going nowhere.
Yeah.
It started out with a group that came here, I think that we were looking down in Fredonia. That's where one got started down there and nobody would really pick up the ball. We tried to get Erie Community College involved and this type of thing. Nobody was taking the bull by the horn. And I believe the superintendent of schools from Hamburg worked along with you to make sure that this wouldn't get dropped. And we wanted to make sure it continued to grow. And he took the bull by the horns and made sure it did happen. He put that on his agenda and with all his other duties he had, carried it through. Then the town even came through with some funding, which makes a big part of this whole thing. And so I want to commend the group as a whole for following through and making sure this did happen. This didn't happen overnight. We've put many, many hours into it and hopefully, not hopefully, it will continue to grow and will accomplish a lot through this program overall. Right on Main Street, when you come up here, you can't beat this location as far as the signage, the whole thing. And people know what's Fitch Hamburg about. So once we get the word out there to the people and it's already started, this is a great tool to work with. So I want to commend the group, the Economic Development Committee as a whole, because I think this is where it stemmed from the, in the true sense, and keep it going in the right direction.
Yeah. Well, and you let me put the time into it, so it actually is a reality, so I didn't screw up on this one.
Oh, well,
Now, does Pitch have an independent governing board?
Yes, so Pitch has a board, and actually you'd like to speak to now, so like on behalf, I'm on the board, I'm the secretary on the board in the executive committee. I am probably the least successful person on the Pitch Hamburg board. It's an amazing group of people. Yeah, you know, I mean, it's about surrounding yourself with excellent resources. So Mike Cornell is one of those people. Southtown Audio Video, Heather Sidorowitz has donated thousands of dollars worth of equipment to allow us to use. So a lot of the technology, all of the technology here is a result from Southtown Audio Video. There's some other small businesses in the area. We have board representation from 43 North. Maura Devlin is a Hamburg resident and works for 43 North. We have a representative who's a Hamburg resident who works for Mode for their New Ventures group, which you don't even know what they do, but it's pretty amazing. And University of Buffalo and working with their innovation hub. So it's really like an excellent brain trust of people and resources, again, from different matters, because this will be a little bit of a tweak, a lot of a tweak from a lot of the startup companies, because we also want to focus on Main Street businesses, not just the high growth startup type companies as well, because Hamburg, you know, is a lot of Main Street businesses. A lot of our 8 IDA projects are probably small to mid-sized employers, you know, less than 150 people. So I think it's really, you know, transitions back to what has made up the community to date. So in addition to, you know, that, we want compatible businesses, not competitive, but compatible businesses in the kind of small business, Main Street USA type business sectors as well. So yeah, so we'll take a tour in a little
just
bit.
to touch on our partnership with Favor Drop. So Favor Drop is a tech startup, but support all of the small businesses in the village. So that's where they started, and they're both residents of Hamburg. So it was important to us when we brought them on, because that's not what our focus is. That partnership with them was really important to us because they're so supportive of the small businesses right in the village.
So we come to the IDA board from Pitch Hamburg, and really when we meet with new people, you know, our two needs where you can support us, our clients. So, you know, I would look forward if you can make any connections. Obviously, we're very well connected with Hamburg, but Frontier has a lot of cool, innovative programs for young adults. And so we, you know, now that we're in existence, we'd like to get involved with Frontier more. You do not have to, for client development. So essentially, we want clients. We want to drive, you know, people who have an idea. We can help them form their LLC. We can have a reality check. Can you monetize this? You know, does it make financial sense if you are, you know, we'll look at margins, we'll look at profits, we'll look at, you know, startup cost, equipment, and really to see if the, you know, their idea does make sense, first of all. And then from there, we'll help them move their project forward. They do have to commit to us, so it's not, we can't handle, you know, with, I'm sure with 43 North in life, you have objectives, and if you want to, you know, drive progress, you have to, you know, make some deliverables happen, so that the more they commit to us, the more likely they are to be hosted in this space and to be awarded into the program, because eventually they have to commit to this business, you know, more than just, you know, like a, you know, couple hours a week. They'll have to 20 to 40 hours a week they'll have to put into it. So client development and referrals, programming, we're working it through, and that's where Ann is leading into, you know, hosting and being a resource to the community, so they may not need to engage with us for all of our services, but at an ad hoc basis, almost like a SCORE mentorship, so they don't have to travel to Niagara Falls. And then last, funding. You know, we've received some startup funding from the town of Hamburg through the ARPA grant, which has been great. The state, you know, we've partnered with. Startups are not eligible for funding through New York State Empire State Development until they've been in existence for 3 years. So we're gonna, you know, we're working, and that's kind of one of my main roles at the board is the finance, you know, raising funds. So we'll be, you know, looking to, you know, seek additional funding to drive this program forward, you know, beyond the initial funding from the town of Hamburg. So we'll be here for the long haul. All right, thanks. And then we'll look to, if you'd be so gracious to host us for a tour, we'll run through the rest of our meeting. Unfinished business, I have a resolution for Ford that we had tabled. I'd like to bring this back again. As an update, we did do an inducement for Ford, and Ford has been very transparent to some of the changes at the plant, and, you know, that they will have to do a temporary downsizing as the plant retools for additional lines. I met with Empire State Development. We put this on hold so I could meet with the state. I could meet with our local state representatives, and they've offered me their time, you know, but unfortunately, any type of inducement that we can offer to companies through state law, it really has to be incorporated with some job retention or job growth. So this, you know, any inducement for Ford as it would stand would be invalid and would not be in accordance with state law due to the fact that there would be a temporary reduction in jobs. So at this time, I spoke with Ford, and you know, and they have to. This is just basically a, you know, a necessary business operation. And, you know, people that work in the automotive industry may be able to attest to this, that they have to, you know, essentially have operations down at the plant so they can make ready for future operations and future success. So we've left it with Ford where, you know, now is not the time, not the valid time where they can seek any state inducement that can be provided through an industrial development agency. But certainly we are a partner with Ford, and we'll be here with them as they maybe have a change in operations in the future. So the resolution, Town of Hamburg Industrial Development Agency rescinding its authorization and approval of the execution delivery of an installment and sale agreement and other instruments and other matters for Ford Motor Company Buffalo Stamping Plant 2022 to 2026. Whereas Ford Motor Company, the company has entered into negotiations with officials from the Town of Hamburg Industrial Development Agency, the agency, with respect to the acquisition, installation, machinery, equipment, furnishings, fixtures by the company as agent for the agency for the company's industrial producers facilities located at 3663 Lakeshore Road for a 5-year period commencing January 2022, ending December 2026. Whereas the company has since conveyed its inability to commit to the job creation outline and the eligibility questionnaire to the agency by the company and has failed to sign and accept the terms of the inducement resolution. Be it resolved by the Town of Hamburg IDA as follows. The agency rescinds the inducement resolution adopted January 12th, 2022, and the resolution shall take effect immediately. So moved.
So moved.
Ann? Second?
Second.
Davis on the question?
I do have a couple questions.
Yes.
The timeline for do we have a hard timeline for their employment changes?
Yes, as represented in the application, their employment will dip as soon as next year in 2023. So they
So
will,
they could we could give them a break for 2022. Just a single year,
But
correct?
I don't think the fees involved make economic sense for them to do that.
All right, because I was gonna say, take the time frame out that they would be not in compliance.
So
They could
give them
still
a.
grab, they could
yeah.
still grab the sales tax benefit when they're buying all the equipment,
Mhm.
and then, go out of the program and come back in and say 2024, when they, seem to be.
I believe the agency
Ramped up.
fees and all of that for 1 year were not fees, wouldn't make the project make sense.
Okay,
So I guess the big question is, so they retroactively, they go back to paying sales tax January 1st.
no. They have not executed the agreement, so they don't have a sales tax letter now. So they have not been doing, they're not sales tax exempt as of
Right.
December 31st. And they're
Right, so
aware of that.
January 1st is their.
They have not made sales tax exempt purchases. They have no valid sales tax exemption certificate from the IDA.
Right.
So they,
They have been
through us
paying
cannot-
sales
yes,
tax.
Yes,
That's
they
what I'm
should be
saying, so
paying
they
sales
should
tax.
be paying sales tax.
Yes, and, at such time where the employment, would be increasing, then it would be compatible with state law. So this, basically, if you induce this company, the inducement would not be legally binding.
Right, and when you induce a project, you use the number of jobs that they put in their application. And then they have to report to the agency that they've kept at least that minimum job creation. And if they don't, then the agency has to start the recapture provision and make them repay the benefits.
Right.
Unless they can explain the reason for the job decrease or their inability. And they weren't willing to take that gamble that if, once, because they knew the layoffs were coming to retool the plan, they weren't willing to come back to the board, because who knows what the board, who's going to be on the board in the future, and risk that recapture. Oh, I hope you're all here, but.
No, I fully understand it. and,
Yeah.
I'm not representing the motor company, I just have to retire from there. I'm active with the local union over there. And I know there's retooling going on, so I just want to make sure that if we, my understanding is that they are now required to pay sales tax as required with any business, so the money goes back to the state of New York into Erie County.
Right. They've been very open and honest,
Yeah, no.
very open and honest.
I'm okay with this, and I mean, it's the way they want to do business, and they don't want to guarantee jobs, and I fully understand it, and they don't want to take the time to say, okay, we do have a downturn, here's a reason. That's part of the, our process, and then we can take a look at it as a board, so.
So hopefully, once they retool and are reset, they can come back to the board and ask for benefits.
And that could be 1 to 2 years, looks like right now.
What are the numbers that they gave you?
They had, initially they reported about 970 jobs. And then I believe it was going down to 270 for a period of time. And then I believe it was, well, in the second year, so in 2023. And then they said it would increase, after, I think, a period of 2 years. So 2023, 2024, and then increase, but they could not guarantee that it would be back to that 970 amount. So, this, due to state law, we cannot grant an inducement if there is not
I'm just
retention.
curious if they're telling me more than they're telling our side, that's all I'm trying to.
Yeah, well, I mean, and our applications are on our website, they're public documents.
I have the application here.
Oh, thank
They
you.
committed to 904 full-time jobs and then 72 part-time jobs for a total of 979 jobs.
Big thing I get concerned with is this could be a starting of a nail in the coffin.
Right.
And that's where I really have a problem. So we've seen the steel plant go down, and that was a big impact. Now, if we see the Ford plant go down, that'll be another big impact to this whole community. There's no ands if or buts, and I would hate like heck to see this happen. And when you have changing in administration, a lot of times this is where things take place, and then this is where things fall through the cracks. I'd hate like heck to see that happen within the town of Hamburg. And I think that we've got to really stay on this to make sure it doesn't happen. And if there's any way that we can get some guarantees where the jobs will come back and keep them going, this would be great. But I don't know if we're being told everything that's going on. And then because the union tells me one thing, the guys that are in the union and whatever, and I've got mixed vibes. And they got mixed vibes. So I mean, they're coming to me knowing I'm on this board, and I said, look, our hands are tied because of the loss, and go from there. That's basically how I've left it. But I'd hate like heck to see anything happen where we lose those 900 some jobs that we do have going at this point.
I think the earliest, and this is just my opinion, that you're gonna revisit this, and Gwen's might concur, is next year's our auto industry talks for contracts. So this might be part of the contract negotiation process right now, because with Ford, most of our work is in Canadian country, we have Oakville. We do a lot of support across the board here. So depending on how they want to, they have separate entity in Oakville, which has a separate union and a separate operation from the United States. So I would stay on top of this, but I really would try to take a look at this next year. Forward might be part of the negotiation process. If we could throw something out there that way. They go with the negotiation, same with trying to.
See, what the stamping plant here is, that other stamping plants don't, is that they're right next door, or right on site of their production facilities. The Woodlawn plant is standalone, and that's a concern, and, the border crossing is also another concern too. But Bob is right, we have our contracts up for the big three, September 23. Ford may be targeted, they also promised work to some plants in the last contract and didn't deliver, so it's tough, it's a lot of our friends work there, right? We're going through the same thing our plant, plant, so it's tough. We have a whole engine line is season production in end of August, so.
Any electric vehicles do not support engine plants. Same with so it's a challenging issue. We'll adapt. Hopefully we'll get through this. But I fully support our returning this, because if they can't meet our state standards, we can't.
Yeah, and just so taking it all the way up to the ladder, to the top guys in the UAW, they're behind us on it, so it's not.
Right.
You know,
We're trying to get through it. We'd like it.
Yeah.
It's a nice incentive to keep it coming around, but well, played kind of fair.
Yeah, and we recognize the value, but, and as the matter of fact is, these have to be within general municipal law, so for you to make an inducement that's not within state law,
Right, that is going to fail, doesn't.
it does not reflect kindly on the director, on the board.
The
legal
controller might take a position.
But, all,
It's Jen's fault.
but in all seriousness, I think
We're the vice president.
I know.
I'm here to
Tom's-
keep you out of trouble.
Yeah,
I know that.
But Tom's advice, I think, to maintain close communication, and thankfully we have the union UAW members at the table here, but maintaining contacts with, Tony Reinhardt in Detroit, who represents Ford and has been, very honest and transparent, I think, as much as can be. And working, as an advocacy and legislation to carry this, on our agendas and maybe provide quarterly updates, what's going on at the plant, and advocating in addition to, the UAW, to the state representatives that this plant by, the economic numbers in terms of the, investment, and the jobs and the pay and the benefits associated with these jobs is huge. This would be a glut if that employment was not present in our community, not only for Hamburg, but for Western New York. So, it's certainly a huge employer, one of our top employers and a good employer in the community. So.
There's probably more parts to this than what we see as a board too, because not only is it the minimal sales tax incentive that they get from us, but transportation costs and switching costs at the rail, tower, and all those items, they factor up all those little pieces, become a big number. And you're right, our state representatives need to really take a hard look at this. And get behind keeping this plant. in
Once
Western New
one
York.
of the biggest problem once I had is with the federal government, we talk to Congressman Higgins all the time, it's getting across the border quickly. People don't realize those delays come across the border, because if you have a 2-hour delay and you're trying to do, I call it just-in-time production, they got some other name for it, but yeah, it's huge. And because it's not that far, it's only an hour and 20 minutes up there, faster you get over the border. And that only affects Ford, it affects a lot of our companies. Because it used to be a friendly tunnel crossing, it's no longer friendly getting into Canada like it used to be.
Well, we talked when they were talking about the Skyway. I was on Hayes, it can be, because that would create more travel for your trucks, right, more cost.
Yeah, they might have the Skyway down and make it a 40-mile-an-hour. It's like going by Buff State, oh my gosh. I know these people are frustrated driving down at Buff State now. 30 miles an hour, it's slower than a village.
Okay, any other comments? So this was moved by Cam, seconded by Davis, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Okay, motion carried. Sexual harassment training reminder, but I don't think those people are here. Privilege of the floor, I know we've been carrying that for.
Wow,
6 months.
that's really how it's been. That's what now who owes.
We called them out last time. We're public shaming. Privilege of the floor. Anna, do you have anything to offer? Okay.
You have your training?
Motion to adjourn the July 20th HIDA meeting at 8:36 a.m. Thank you. Second? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay. One more meeting, Anna. We have our land court meeting, which could go very quick.
You can stop recording.
Yeah. No, you can go to your office. We'll bug you in a little bit.
Sure.
They don't have enough, they don't have enough machine.